Hey guys, today I want to share with you why I think it's important not to say the phrase, I have social anxiety. There might be some consequences that you're not aware of when you say this. I'm going to share these with you today. Okay, so guys, my name is Stéphane Gonville. I have a website called freedomacademyhq.com where I try to share information to help people overcome social anxiety and shyness. So today what I want to talk about is basically why I think it's important that you don't continue saying the phrase, I have social anxiety. Most people with social anxiety do refer to their social anxiety like this, and I used to also. And I stopped doing that when I figured out that there was actually some consequences that I was not aware at the moment, but that were actually maybe increasing my social anxiety and just making it worse overall. Okay, so this is what I'm going to share with you guys today. So the first and biggest consequence of saying that phrase, that you have social anxiety, basically what it is that it reaffirms to yourself that you have a mental disorder. By saying I have social anxiety, it's not actually pointing to the real problem, which is basically really simple. The reality is that your social anxiety is really just anxiety in social situations. It's not this big problem that separate. It's not this big disorder. It's not a mental condition like you might have been told it was. You can't catch social anxiety. The idea that you have this social anxiety as if it was something that you either were born with, or it's part of your genetics, or that is just a malfunctioning in your brain, is a wrong way of looking at it. This actually leads me to the number two consequence, which is that when you say that you have social anxiety, you basically forget that everybody else on planet Earth feels social anxiety. You're not the only one, okay? So basically, it's separating you from everybody else. You're seeing yourself as this broken individual that has, unfortunately, social anxiety, that has this disease, that has this disorder. But when you actually look at the facts, it's that everybody feels this emotion, okay? I know that for me, I had a lot of problems in my past, where I would go on the internet to try and figure out what was my social anxiety and try to figure out how to overcome it. And everywhere I looked, it was always reaffirming that my social anxiety was a personality trait or a mental condition. But I actually came to the fact and the realization that social anxiety is neither of those. It's actually an emotion. Everybody feels it. Because why is it an emotion? Because all that social anxiety is anxiety. That's an emotion. It's not a personality trait. Yes, you were born with the capability of feeling anxiety, but that does not mean that it's a personality trait. There are certain things that you've done, well, that happened to you, to be more specific, and that led you to feel this amount of social anxiety. But even though you feel a lot of social anxiety, doesn't mean that you have social anxiety disorder. Just look at it this way. Everybody feels social anxiety, but not everybody will label themselves as being socially anxious, okay? And this is the truth. Everybody feels socially anxious from time to time. If someone gets nervous because they're going to meet new people, that's social anxiety. If someone feels nervous or anxious because they are going to give a speech in front of people, that by default is social anxiety. So then, who the hell doesn't feel social anxiety? I think a lot of people at this point will tell me, oh yeah, but there's this person or that person that I'm 100% sure they never feel social anxiety. But I'm pretty sure I could defer for the contrary, because I'm pretty sure those people do feel social anxiety. The only thing is that they're really good at either hiding it, or they feel very little of it. And also, these people might not interpret their social anxiety as being social anxiety. Maybe they transform it into excitement. Maybe that's how they label it. But nevertheless, that's just how you label it. If you feel nervous before any social event, you have social anxiety by default. So don't feel as if you're separate from everybody else because you feel social anxiety. Everybody else does. Everybody, from time to time, they'll feel awkward, they'll have embarrassment, they'll feel anxious before going to meet someone. These are normal emotions that every healthy human being feels. The fact that you think you have social anxiety is making you feel as if you're someone different that has this major problem that nobody else has to deal with. Trust me, everybody's feeling this from time to time, okay? And maybe the fact that you think you're one of the only ones that is feeling this emotion is making you feel even more awkward in social situations. Some people might feel a lot of it, some people might feel a lot less of it. But that does not mean that it's not an emotion. My social anxiety, and if you're looking at this video, this might be you also, our social anxiety might have gone haywire, basically. It's like normal anxiety turned into the Hulk. Saying that you have a disorder or that you have social anxiety as a mental condition is the wrong way to look at it. It's still an emotion. It's just that this emotion is basically multiplied by 10. This happens because of certain things that might have happened to you in your past, like really negative social events, or the way you react when that fear arises. If you constantly try to fight your fear and run away from it, you'll feel more social anxiety. The third consequence is that it renders you inactive to do something about it, because you're always reaffirming to yourself that you have this separate problem from everybody else, that you're different, you have a mental condition, you have a brain disorder, and that because it's part of your genetics and you were just born this way, there's nothing you can do about it, right? But that's not the case. There's a lot you can do about it. The idea that your social anxiety is just who you are and it's part of your genetics makes you feel as if there's absolutely nothing you can do to improve your situation. And so even though you'd like to try to reduce your social anxiety and you hate feeling that way, you don't do anything about it because, hey, it's just who I am and there's nothing I can do about it. So there you go. Those are the 3 consequences of saying the phrase, I have social anxiety. So what I do to improve this situation for myself is actually just switch one word. Instead of saying I have social anxiety, I say I feel social anxiety. And even though I might feel a lot of it at some times, it doesn't change the fact that it points to a better understanding of what the problem actually is. By saying that you feel social anxiety instead of that you have social anxiety, it's basically reaffirming that this is just an emotion that everybody feels. Yes, you might be feeling a lot more than other people, but you don't have this brain disease, you don't have this mental disorder that the phrase I have social anxiety is pointing towards. So there you go, guys. I hope this video helped a bit. I created this video that's exclusive and I didn't post it on YouTube, and it explains 5 of these little myths that are still widely believed by most people with social anxiety and by basically everybody in society today, but that these myths are actually keeping you stuck by believing them. So you can click right here and it'll bring you right to the exclusive video. I think these myths helped me a bunch when I figured those out, so I think they can do the same. So that's it, guys. Leave me a comment if you want, and share your thoughts with me. I'm gonna peace out in beautiful Montreal City on a kind of a sunset, half sunset. It was raining earlier. Anyways, yeah, that's it for today, guys. Peace out.